All right, welcome everyone to today's live stream. My name is Eben. I'm a concept artist and illustrator, and actually today we're going to be doing some stuff in Blender because I've been working with that quite a bit recently, and just been having so much fun with it. It's actually a really cool tool to just use for just about anything. But definitely for concept art and that kind of stuff, it's really useful. So we're going to start with completely from scratch today. And as usual, I have my wheel here of requests for things that people want to see in the stream. So if you're just joining us, then feel free to drop a request in the chat. I'll give you a couple minutes to write anything in if you have a request for today. Otherwise, this is what we have so far, and we got some cool ideas here. I know this was kind of a last minute stream, and I switched the time on you, so just trying to keep you guys guessing. It's a little bit easier for me if I can do this earlier in the day versus right smack in the middle. But of course, everyone's in different time zones, so in any case, yeah, I'm excited to get going here. And of course, if you are just joining us for the first time, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Yeah, happy to say that last week we crossed the 1K mark. Yeah, excited to continue to grow this channel, and hopefully going to be doing a lot more of these streams moving forward. So, all right, doesn't look like we have anything else coming in, so let's just do a little spin here and see what we have. Oh, interesting. Cool. I think I can't remember who submitted that one, but this will be interesting. So we're gonna need some references for this. So let's bring up because I have no idea what that even looks like, really. I mean, I have kind of a, so let's just do a quick search here. Again, my let's not go to maps, actually. Let's go to images here. Let's just kind of take a minute to, I'm seeing some common themes here. Just kind of absorbing some of the architecture. This seems to be kind of a common theme with the, there's this kind of like edging to everything. I don't know what you would call that, but let's just go ahead and compile a few of these here. There we go. And just kind of get a sense for what we're doing here. By the way, I am trying today, for the first time I think, to stream in 4K at 60 frames per second, which is awesome. But if that completely destroys my CPU along with Blender, and you're getting some any issues with the stream, just let me know. Because if you have worked with Blender before, you'll know that there's really no limit to how much it can draw from your machine. So if things get too complex, it'll just kind of switch the fail safe, and Blender will crash and quit out on you, which is fine, because it usually will have an autosave, but of course sometimes that doesn't work, so you always want to save frequently. I'm not sure if I have this one already, but I do like our... Oh, these are pretty cool. All right, should be good for a start. Definitely seeing some common themes here. So let's move this to the side for the moment and dive into Blender. Hello, Tammy. Today, let's see, we spun the wheel. I don't know where that went. It disappeared. But I got a request for doing a Victorian village. So that's kind of an interesting thing I haven't really attempted before. So we will we'll see how this goes. But I'm going to start with a plane just to kind of set the tone here. And let's start with our first building. The great thing about doing architecture and stuff like this is it's already sort of geometrically aligned with you know, simple planes and stuff, so we don't have to worry too much about you know, doing any kind of intense modeling or sort of remeshing or that kind of stuff we would worry about with more of an organic subject. So here we can kind of just work with cubes and angles and like large polygons for a long time before we get into any texturing work. So let me bring up my references again here. Control or Shift Command A to keep that on top. And let's take a look at what we have here. Kind of like this one. A really fun exercise to do in Blender, which I'm not necessarily going to do today, but is to actually see if you can like exactly replicate something that you see in a photo. And that can just be a really useful, it's kind of like a 3D study essentially. That's a really great way to sort of build your skills like that, and sort of figure out unique ways to approach working in Blender. And of course, everyone has their different workflow, and I, you know, probably do everything pretty incorrectly, I suppose, but you know, it I guess as long as the results are more or less the same, it doesn't matter too much. Okay, so let's go into edit here, and I'm going to do a little inset face to make this sort of make this tower thing at the top there. And looks like it kind of flares out a little bit. Let's actually move this down. And let's make a cut. And let's just bring everything in. Again, everyone has their different workflow, and I'm sure there are always more efficient ways to be doing some of these things. But I mean, I think the cool thing about Blender is you can just kind of dive in and see what happens, and you know, it's not a big deal if you're not working in the most efficient way possible, because it's, you know, you're just kind of exploring and figuring stuff out. I'm actually going to hide this for now, just while we're still doing some modeling stuff so I can see through the bottom here. So it's kind of our main tower. I'm going to kind of start by following this fairly closely, and then, you know, as I get a general sense for, you know, for how this general design works, I will start to deviate a little bit. And of course, once we have the basic structure here, we can start to kind of copy and paste and replicate different elements. Like we could build this one house and then sort of take it and create different variations of it. And one thing I always forget to do, I'm actually going to redo that, because I want to create this as a separate object. Just in case we want to adjust things a little bit. I'm actually going to create some symmetry here. So this is a neat little trick. Go into edit mode, create a cut down the middle, and let's go into wireframe, select these vertices and delete them. Then we'll take this side and set up a mirror modifier. Hello, welcome. Glad you're able to finally catch a live stream here. Today we're doing some Victorian architecture by request, so this is definitely sort of a new idea for me. So we're using some references here and sort of just figuring things out as we go. All right, so I got the mirror modifier on there. Next, I'm going to start creating these little bits here. So let's go into our plane. Once again, do kind of a bevel to. Actually, before that, I'm just gonna go ahead and apply scale transform so we get an even bevel. This is actually something I only figured out recently, but if you're ever doing a bevel and everything seems kind of skewed, you just have to select your object, do Command A, and apply the scale transform, so it knows to create a bevel with an even edge. So let's bring this in. We're kind of creating that balcony part there, and let's extrude upwards. And once again, for now, I'm kind of following this design pretty closely, which is always a good, if you're not really sure about a particular, design or aesthetic, in this case, Victorian architecture, it's really best to start with following your reference fairly closely. And I can't really see what's going on the roof here, so I'm just going to kind of guess at some stuff. It kind of looks like there's a central pyramid sort of shape back there. And there are a number of ways we could go about that. I think what I am going to do is, let's bring these together actually, and let's extrude from there. So we keep that center line. And we're going to have to deal with this later because we have two planes that are coming to a point there, but we'll be able to merge them together with a little tool to make sure we don't have any duplicate vertices, which can create some issues for us later on. All right, so let's select this edge. I'm just going to move that up. Let's figure out exactly how we're going to do this. It almost looks like this starts back here. So let me think here. All right, first of all, let's take all of this, move it. Just gonna give ourselves a little more space, and I think maybe the simplest way to approach it, even though this may create issues later, is let's just bring another cube into the mix. Let's actually go out of edit mode first. Dragon video. Yeah, no problem. Glad you enjoy that. People seem to enjoy that one. That is the are you talking about the water dragon versus the lava monster one? For some reason that's been really blowing up. I'm not sure if people are going to get quite as pumped about Victorian architecture, but I think there's a special kind of nerd out there that's really going to enjoy this, kind of like myself, who just kind of appreciates the more grounded sort of technical aspects of this kind of design. All right, so I'm just going to bring these down. All right, so we got that. Let's, we can always position this roughly where the camera is in our reference and sort of see how things are adding up here. It looks like this shape can come out a bit. And this thing here can come up. I think it also looks like this is angled back a bit like that. Oh, the egg one, yeah. Yeah, that was good too. All right, let's go back to this thing here. Now we can take this edge, raise that up as well, create that little, not sure what you would call it. Imagine there's some bedrooms here or something like that. Oops, I have to raise that vertically. There we go. And these things are all kind of lining up in a weird way. So we can just adjust a little bit. maybe we can just push. Again, this is sort of a weird way to do things, but kind of want to match the angle of these two things because I feel like that is something a architect would do. I'm kind of putting on my architect hat here. All right, let's extrude out these faces to match up. Yeah. We could do the same in the back in case anybody's looking back here. Let's just take see, I'm definitely complicating things for myself. So I think at a certain point, I'm just gonna have to pull these things together and start to do a little bit of housekeeping in terms of how I'm working with my edges and so forth, just so I don't create like a complete mess. All right, so let's just move this out, connect it here, and so again later on, we're gonna kind of fix this up a little bit. So that we don't have all these duplicate vertices. All right, so that's pretty good for our foundation. We'll have a little tower here as well, and we'll make that in a second. But first, hey Jake, welcome. The plan is we are working on some Victorian architecture by request. So just kind of starting with a reference, following that fairly closely, and then we're going to kind of branch out a little bit from there. Actually, the request was for a Victorian village. I don't know how many of these I can create in 2 hours, but we're going to see. I want to make sure, and of course, like I've said a little bit previously, there are ways we can sort of expedite the process a little bit once we have this initial design down. So I'm gonna go ahead and join these together. So if we want to join some objects together that that are kind of close like this, we're going to use our what's it called? Once again, I'm going to have to try to remember how to do this. I just did it the other day. Somewhere in here. We'll figure it out in a second. Oh, maybe it's in edit mode. That's why. Okay. So let's get out of wireframe for a second. Let's join these together. And now this is one object. So then we'll go into edit and let's actually apply this mirror modifier as well. So now we have a single object here, but if we look, you know, like here, we have some messy stuff going on with the vertices, and it's gonna come back to bite us later. You can see in our wireframe we have some things that are duplicate vertices. So I'm going to select all this. Let's go to mesh. Let's move this over. Mesh, clean up, and merge by distance. So now we can adjust this. Obviously, if we go too far, it's going to start pulling things together that we don't want. But notice this corner over here, which was, if we go back to 0, this was all a bunch of different vertices together. It was looking kind of messy. Same with this this edge right here. But if we start to dial this up, it's going to basically merge vertices together based on their proximity. So I think this is probably safe. Let's see how it looks in solid form. And I think that's gonna be okay. Again, I'm not an expert here, and I've probably totally butchered the workflow here, but it's good enough for our purposes. And I think another reason why I totally messed this up is I've created this this n-gon here, which again is probably going to come back to bite me. Whatever, we'll figure it out. Cool. And this is still a separate thing. Maybe we'll go in and do some windows or something. Oh, thanks, Jake. Yes, we've got a Blender expert here to help us. Yeah, I think what I'm gonna do at this point is, I feel like anybody who actually has been working with Blender for years, which I have not, is probably cringing at the way I'm approaching this right now. But you know what? This is for me and my creative process. So, all right, I'm actually gonna redo that mirror modifier as well, since I do want to save myself some time here. Let's actually just select the faces, delete, and add a mirror modifier. All right. So let's make some windows and some little bits and stuff like that. And you can see actually with this one that the design is not completely symmetrical. There's one thing happening on one side and another happening on the other. But in this case, just to save myself some time, I'm probably going to simply do it the way I want to. All right. This is where my complete lack of expertise is going to come into play. This is when I start eyeballing things and I kind of move away from more precise methods. Oops. It's kind of where my my traditional painting skills are coming into play. Where I'm just like, I'm sure there's a technically more precise way to do this, but I'm just gonna start eyeballing it here. I'm gonna sort of go with what's happening. I'm gonna sort of combine different elements of the design here. Apparently I can't do that. All right, I'm eyeballing it again. Sweet. All right, let's take these and extrude them. This is kind of the fun part. Cool. And as you can see, that is mirrored over here. You know, it's also a fun thing to start doing at this point is setting up a light source. As you can see, our original light has been obscured by our giant house, so we're gonna create a new one, sunlight, and I'm just gonna dial up the strength of that. This is where it's kind of, you can start to see your creation come to life a little bit. We're working in the Eevee render engine right now, and I've actually really been enjoying doing a lot of my work with just keeping Eevee on. Depending upon the your computer specs, this may or may not be reasonable for you. I'm working with the new 2020 MacBook with the M1 chip, so it seems to handle it pretty well. And of course, the more complex things get, the more it's going to be a load on your system. But I do like to, so your sort of basic Eevee setup doesn't look that great. It's going to cut a lot of corners to maximize performance. So I like to kind of check on, you know, some of these more kind of nice looking elements of Eevee. You can actually make it look pretty good if you start, you know, including some I'm not actually entirely sure what screen space reflections does, but it could look nice. I do like to increase, you know, you can see how the shadows look kind of poor as they are. I do like to increase the shadow resolution and go to high bit depth, stuff like that, just to make things look a bit nicer. Of course, Eevee on its own isn't always going to look super great. We can switch to cycles if we want to see a much more realistic render, but it's a little bit more, right now it's fine, because we're working with some very simple stuff. We haven't introduced materials or any high resolution polygons yet, so it's gonna render fairly quickly, but later on this becomes a bit impractical. But as you can see, it looks very nice, and we can, you know, rotate our sun around. One thing that Cycles does really well is sort of bounced and reflected light. So you can see when we introduce this plane on the bottom, we can see all this nice, reflected light and ambient occlusion happening here. And one thing I usually do with cycles as well is I go to, where is it? Denoising, and check that for our viewport. And open image tends to look a lot better for some reason. So I keep that on, and then may increase render time a little bit, but it gets rid of all that grainy stuff, and you can kind of quickly get a better gauge for how things are looking. All right. So anyway, let's go back to Eevee, since we want to keep things looking okay. And actually, for now, I'm going to, let's hide this plane again, and let's go back to our solid view, because it's a little bit more accessible for designing stuff. So let's actually, so you can see here, I've kind of like totally messed up my ability to do like proper cuts by creating this super weird shape here. But we're just gonna kind of hack our way through this process a little bit. Actually, one useful way we can create these windows, which is not necessarily, again, the most I would say the most practical way, is we can use a Boolean modifier to sort of cut them out of the surface. I'm actually, just since I'm seeing it here, I want to create a little, if I can. I really messed this thing up. Once again, we're gonna kind of butcher our way through this. I will say this has really thrown me for a loop here, this whole Victorian architecture thing, because I'm finding myself really making a lot of poor decisions in terms of my workflow. But we've got our little balcony area here. Actually, one thing we could do that might look a little better is, let's actually create a, one way, actually, probably a great way to fix a lot of the terrible mistakes I'm making, is to just continue creating new objects, so for different elements. So let's start with a cube here, and if I want to make this balcony, let's go to lock camera to 3D cursor, and scoot this in. We've got our sort of fence shape, and let's kind of take a look at what this is. Obviously, we have these very intricate patterns going on there, and I don't know if I want to get that deep into this level of detail. If we're going to create an entire village, I probably can't afford to be modeling out all these little bits here. But, you know, I kind of want to just try that though, just to see what happens, because it might be easier than I think. In this case, I'm actually going to let's create a cylinder, right? We shrink it down, size it up. I'm actually going to go with let's drop down the amount of vertices here, because I don't want to create too many polygons here. So let's just do a quick go like here, that's good, here, and maybe down here. Let's actually move this one down. And then let's go back to wireframe. I think it was something like this. Right, so here's our, yeah, it didn't take too long. And of course, as usual, I accidentally did all of this in edit mode, so we've actually just been adding on to the same shape. So I'm actually just going to separate. And we don't need this mirror modifier either. And all right, so we have this piece here, and again, I have created these as a separate shape, which doesn't matter too much, but I'm gonna go ahead and separate them out anyway. So go back here, and let's actually cut out the middle. All right, there's a better way to do this. All right, and of course I moved the origin point as well. Set origin to geometry. Nice. That's a nice, useful thing to know how to do in case you accidentally create an object that is in edit mode and then move it somewhere else. All right, so let's duplicate this. Shrink this down. Just gonna line it up. Okay. And now take this and we duplicate, move it over. And then Shift R, Boom, 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 boom. And then, actually, let's keep doing this. Then we have these little blocks in the middle. So let's just cut this. Whoops. Where am I? And actually, let's join these. Extrude down. All right, so with these together, I'm just going to join them. Now we have kind of a building block we can use for whatever we want. We can put this fence. If I look at my reference here, shrink this down a bit. Let's look at this from the front. You can duplicate that. Rotate Y, 180. There we go. I think there's a way to sort of mirror duplicate an object, but I can't remember how to do it. Or mirror flip, that is. So we have our fence, and let's the cool thing about doing something, you know, with this level of detail is it looks really nice once you put some lighting on it. So we can see here, if we go to rendered, you know, things are starting to look fairly nice when we have that level of detail there. I'm kind of wondering, out of curiosity, if we, well, I guess it doesn't matter too much. We can just hit duplicate, move this over, just see how things look from the front. Now there's going to be this arch here in the middle, and I want to make sure that's lined up with that pole. So we're just going to kind of roughly put these here for now. And maybe also, I'm not going to worry about that quite yet. So let's take care of those arches then. So we want to have, let's see, we want to have two that are equally spanning this whole length. Now I've made actually three. Once again, this house is kind of asymmetrical. I think 3 is going to work out better anyway, since we already have that sort of subdivided that way. 1 second. Oh, thought I had to sneeze. I've been getting some allergies. It's springtime, and that's no fun. Hey there, welcome Siddharth. Yes, we're doing some Blender stuff. I am really butchering this this workflow here, but we're getting some results slowly but surely. So what I'm actually going to do for these arches, there are definitely a bunch of different ways I could approach this. I think without, you know, I'm not even going to really worry about creating n-gons right now. I think what I'm going to do is just going to create a new object and see what happens here. So create a cylinder as well. Let's actually do something like that. And rotate by Y 90. Rotate by X 90. Or Z, that is. Let's bring this up. And kind of create a roughly arch shape here. And then we're gonna... Oh, damn, I keep doing that. Okay. Let's go back a bit. Okay, we need to separate this out. And also this one. Okay. So now these are separate objects. And we can go back here. I'm gonna delete the bottom half. And, whoops, did not mean to do it that way. Let's just quickly cut her in half here. I think I can do that. Maybe not. Oh well, we can just fill in the space. Just delete those vertices. Let's select these, fill them in. And move this down, join, and once again, we can clean up those duplicate vertices here. There we go. So now we have a arch shape. We can do a couple things with this. One thing I'm going to do while I have this here, right, we have to set our origin because I forgot to separate this first. So let's duplicate this and increase the size actually. So we can have a nice border around our arch as well. And I'm just gonna, I'm actually gonna take both of these and set them aside for a minute because I might want to do something else with that later. For now, I'm actually going to do a little bit less of a border. And let's expand this out a bit. Actually, we don't have to do that yet. What we should do first is move this over. And let's line it up properly. Oh, that's pretty good already. Almost exact, actually. That's my expert eyeballing skills coming into play. So I don't want to stretch this, so I'm just going to move it up until these areas are roughly equidistant. Then I'm going to take the... let's hide this one for a second. I'm going to take the bottom of this, stretch it down. Does this go all the way? Yeah, it goes all the way to the ground. We can create like the stair thing again later if we want. And then we can take our object here and add our Boolean modifier. And go to, sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. And I'm guessing because I totally butchered the setup here, it's probably not going to work. Make sure I have the right object selected here. Yes. Maybe I have to apply the mirror first. Let's see. I think it's something about the way I've set up the geometry here. It's totally not working. All right, let's go back. Got our mirror again. Let's see here. Maybe there's usually it's because there's an open face somewhere. So I might be able to fill some holes here. See if that helps at all. No, it doesn't. Wonder what happens when we move this around. Strange. Make sure to apply scale. Alright, let's do all of these. That doesn't seem to make a difference. Maybe, oh, that might have actually helped. Let's go back to exact. Seems to be doing something here. Let's see what happens if we apply this. Oh, look at that. We got a little weird thing in the middle, but hey, that's not too bad. All right, so let's not apply it quite yet. Actually, screw it. Let's do it. why not? I mean, I could create a backup of this in case something goes horribly wrong, but where's the fun in that? All right, so let's go back here, and I want to move this. I'm actually going to leave this one here. So now if we see, there is a, we'll have a border that we can use there. I'm actually going to duplicate these for now. And move that here. And then once again, oh, this one isn't quite the same distance. Of course it's not. Because I didn't think about that. But that's okay. I can just reduce the size of that tower. Or it doesn't have to be completely, you know, perfect here. But I will probably do that just because I don't think I could live with myself if those spaces were uneven. All right. So we got those going on. Not totally sure what's happening over here. I guess I still have a mirror modifier on that for some reason. So I'm just gonna get rid of that. Okay. Actually, whatever. I'm not gonna do that. We can actually see in real time what's happening on the other side here. So let's just keep adding Boolean modifiers until we have the desired outcome. And I think that will work. Hello, Dolly. Welcome. All right, let's apply these. I'm starting to think that I'm not going to have time to create a whole village unless we just create an entire village of this same house, which we can do. All right. Next thing I will do is how am I going to do this? Well, first of all, let's hide these for a second. And do not need these anymore. So delete. And we have this little plane that's hanging out here. We don't need it to hang out anymore. So we're just going to delete that. Cool. Look at that. And let's just take a look, see how that looks. That's pretty cool. I dig it. So let's go back to solid, and I'm gonna turn these on. I didn't really realize that this bottom was all not quite where we need it to be, so let's just move that down. And move this in a bit. And what I should have done before I deleted those objects, actually I'm going to go back. Actually, I have another one. I have another one over here. That's why it's good to create some backups. Just duplicate that. And again, this will not be as exact as it should be, but doesn't matter too much. All right. Let's go to wireframe. Move this down. And then we're going to try, let's not forget to apply our transforms. My screen went black. Huh. Looks okay on my end, but let me know if that happens again. Strange. Yeah, I can still see it from my end. But yeah, do let me know if there are any problems with the stream. All right, so let's... Don't need that. Set or geometry. Okay, I can go back here. We're gonna try this again. And that is close. I think that will do it. Let's try apply. And looking good once again, except for that weird weird face in the middle. So we can get rid of that. Nice. Now we have this arch. We can use this for a variety of things. For now, I'm just going to duplicate it. And again, there was probably a faster way I could have done this, but I'm not super worried about it. And if my calculations are correct, which I can guarantee they're not, I can duplicate the whole lot of these. And they should be approximately in the right place, which, pretty close. This one's a little off. All right, let's see how that looks. Again, we've got some crazy duplicate walls happening here, and that's probably going to be terrible, but I'm not super worried about it. And actually, this is going to be one empty space here. I didn't even really think about how that's going to work, but you know, it doesn't have to be exactly aligned with our reference here, and maybe I'm just going to have to let that go. But yeah, close enough. Let's see how it looks with our plane too. See if it's kind of working for us. All right. So let's just We can create some windows. Probably create a front door as well. That's what I saved this for. So let's duplicate that. Because it has a slightly thicker, it's just to be super exact, let's put our, whoops. Let's put this on center of our X. And this one. Apply transforms. Maybe not. Oh, we'll see. Okay. Solid. So let's do the same thing, but with this guy here. Add a Boolean. Once again, we will get rid of that. And this should be whoops. Let's also, this is what I should have done. I'm going to apply the Boolean at the same time. And whoops. Apply. Let's see how that looks. Whoa. Oh, I forgot there's some weird stuff happening with this object too. So what we're gonna have to do is actually do it a third time with this one. Let's see what happens. All right, let's try that. I don't know how that's going to work with the mirror, but it didn't really work, did it? Okay, I'm going to do sort of an alternate arrangement here. This is going to be super rough. Let's go into edit mode here. See what we're working with. All right, so let's, can I cut this? Not really. Okay, manual cut. Here we go. Now this is going in. And we don't have to worry about what's happening inside of there. I should select all of this stuff too. For those of you watching, don't try this at home. probably the worst possible way to go about this. But hey, it gets results, and that's all that matters here. As for this, we're gonna do the same kind of operation here. I don't even know where all these planes are coming from. Oh, I don't want to do that. It's looking like I have a good connection here, but Dolly, you might be having some problems on your end. If anyone else is having problems with the stream, do speak up. Until then, I'm just going to kind of charge ahead here. All right, I'm not going to worry too much about what's going on in there, even though it's totally atrocious. The important thing is we have something that looks like a house. So, this is going great. Let's make a balcony. All right, good to hear you're not having any problems. Yeah, that might be on your end, Dolly. I am showing an excellent connection over here. All right, let's do something that isn't totally totally butchered here. And you can see here I'm using the EV render view. Probably shouldn't be. Actually, this will be a much more exact way to do it. There we go. I'm kind of trying to line up the different architectural elements here. Let's do one right down the middle as well. And we can pop this guy out, make a little balcony. That's nice. We can actually use this fence we create, or a railing we created earlier. Which will probably be, actually first let's do something. I want to have these lined up. This will probably be a bit smaller. Oh, I made an extra one here. So I want to see if I can line these up with our pillars here. Oh, actually this one would go here. Okay, and these two would go here. Pretty close. Let's just size them down a bit. Let's actually just do a single thing to keep things consistent. Size it down. Oh, we gotta size it up a little bit. This is kind of a delicate process here. And this will be kind of our standard for how we do things moving forward. All right, so that's pretty close. Doesn't quite add up in terms of the overall length, but I'm not super worried about that. We can just do something like that and cut it off in the middle. Let's go into edit. Not sure why this is being included. I guess I have to make another cut. Here we go. Let's try that again. Beautiful. And now these should line up. I guess I probably should have lined that up first, but we can just throw another one there to fill the difference. And let's make sure these are all lined up like this. Okay, now we can take one of these. Actually, let me try something here. Just gonna duplicate this as a backup. And I'm going to join these. I want to take this. I wonder if I can do that. No, I can't really. All right, let's try this then. Let's move our X origin to 0. And now in edit mode, let's move this back over this way. And let's add a mirror modifier and save ourselves some work here. So we can get rid of these. We have a nice duplicate thing happening there. Am I planning on painting over this? Boy, I would love to. Cannot say for sure how much time I'm willing to put into this today, but I think what we could do is definitely maybe add in some 3D textures and get a nice looking render at the end. And I could always maybe go in and paint it next week. I'm actually going to take this little guy here, move it up. Set origin to geometry. Actually, yeah, we can do the same thing here. Set our X to 0, go into edit, move everything over, and add a mirror. Get a nice symmetrical design here. Of course, it may not be totally exact, but we're going to fudge it a little bit. And then I'm actually going to duplicate this, rotate by 90, and now we have a nice little balcony. And since I am lazy, and I don't want to redo that whole balcony thing, I'm just going to take all of this and move it. Can I do that? Yeah. I'm actually going to move this up as well. If I can do that, creates a little weird gap there. Again, I'm totally screwing up the geometry, but I'm not super worried about it. Cool. See how that looks? That's nice. Cannot currently get there, but it's a good start. We'll need some kind of, so we can do that double window thing. Let's see how this looks in cycles. Looking pretty cool. What we can do, just to get a little preview going, let's do a quick pass with the shader editor, and let's just throw in a grass texture. And let's just set the scale to 5. Just so we have kind of a general idea of how this is going to look. We can also go into our world and give this more of a natural sky color. So we can start to see how this is going to shape up. Probably create this platform at the bottom too at some point. And this is our Eevee engine again. Actually, one thing we can do to make this look a little better once again is go to our light source, our sun, and usually by default it will fade the shadows out pretty quickly, or at a fairly close distance, so we can set that further. So if we zoom out, see how they disappear, we can at least make it so they won't disappear if we zoom out too far. Anyway, let's go back to solid here, and let's see if we can quickly add in some windows. I'm going to bring back this guy again. And put it in this general region here. We can do sort of a double door kind of thing, or double window. Once again, I keep forgetting to align these. Oh, there's a hidden treasure here. I'm gonna delete that. Okay. Let's bring these out a bit. Kind of repeat this process, and I think since I still have the mirror modifier, I hope I do, yes, this will I won't have to do this twice, which is nice. Let's make sure we apply all those transforms again. Actually, I'm just gonna take that off of this, or actually, here we go. Apply all transforms. I'm going to take both of these. This is going to be my backup now. All right. Now. Oh, this one doesn't have a mirror on it, though. I think maybe I'll create one. So let's go back to our wireframe. Select delete vertices and mirror. That didn't work out well, did it? Oh, because this is not split. Alright, gonna have to eyeball it again. Here we go. Maybe I can't do that. Alright, we're gonna have to take out our handy dandy knife tool here. Do some manual work. Alright, let's see if this will work for us. Delete vertices, and that appears to be whole. So let's do mirror, and now that'll probably come in handy later as well. Let's also add a Boolean see if this will work. Doesn't look like it's doing anything. Probably. Wonder if I have to. Let's just see. Hit apply and see what happens. Okay, interesting. Not the effect I was looking for, but close. You know, we actually don't have to cut this out, is what I'm just realizing, because this is just a window. So we're just going to forget about that. And what we will do is, let's forget about that. And let's do another Boolean here. And select this and apply. So now we should have this here. Delete that. And we'll keep, where'd it go? There it is. We'll keep this guy. Where did he go? There he is. We'll keep him handy, because we'll want to make some glass at some point. But let's just take these, duplicate them over. And now we have our windows. Now let's expedite our workflow a little bit and just take this same element and let's just join these together and set our origin to 0. First, set our origin to geometry, then origin to 0. Go into edit mode. We can put this windows elsewhere. Put a couple here. And let's see, there's some square ones down there. I don't know if I really want to. Yeah, I could probably do that. But first, let's mirror this. there's actually like a little triangle thing under that, which I kind of like. So I'm gonna just quickly try to replicate that. This did end up being much more of a study than anything else, but I think it's turning out pretty interesting nonetheless. Oh, I see. Okay. We're going to do the same thing here. X is 0. Edit mode. Move this over. Add. Whoops. Mirror. And maybe we'll just add one more thing, and then we can go into we'll maybe try to get a nice looking render here. Just gonna create some duplicate windows, so that looks nice. And this. Actually, let's take this. We want to make sure we have a fence going all around, so I'm going to duplicate that, rotate 90, move that over here. Let's duplicate that again. All right. Just gonna move this out of the way for the time being. And let's just quickly create some square windows here. That should be a rectangular. Shouldn't take too long. Looks like there are two on each side. Let's duplicate. Actually, not quite yet. Okay, let's do our Boolean apply. And let's join those two. Let's do our same kind of process here. All right, so at least we have kind of our front face somewhat well developed here. So, oh, hey, Sabrina, welcome. And yes, I was deliberately trying to confuse you with the start time here. Yeah, just figured I'd try to do it a little bit earlier. Got some other things I'm trying to get to today. But, yeah, we've made some progress here, I would say. So, actually, one thing I want to do, just because I think this is very iconic, kind of Victorian-esque sort of thing, I want to set up these little buttresses underneath the ledges, because I think that's just gonna look really cool. So let's just quickly create one of those. Could probably do it out of a cube, and let's just shrink this in, and let's just go ahead and subdivide by a couple times here. And let's select our edges. Something like this. Huh. Guess that kind of works. Not really what I intended. Let's just... Actually... Sure, there's a better way to do this. But I kind of... Alright, let's start from scratch here. Tell I am just filled with modeling expertise here. Yeah, I'm going to do a much quicker method here. And bring out our knife tool. Let's just take a look at how these are constructed. Something like this. And of course, this is, if this was like a big thing that we wanted to model out, then, hang on a second, let me do this first. Then I probably wouldn't want to do it this way. But once again, I'm just demonstrating my complete lack of modeling knowledge here. I actually don't know if this is going to work. Let's try it out. Okay. This is gonna be so weird looking. But this might work. I really gotta figure out a better way to do this. That was a little too much to hope for. Let's whatever, close enough. So let's take this crudely constructed shape here and rotate 180. Yeah, nobody's going to be looking too closely at this. I can promise you that. So let's do our usual process so we get our mirror happening here. So X to 0, go into edit mode. Move this over. And we can just throw in a few of these. Just eyeballing it again. And put our mirror modifier on there. Just a little bit of decorative work. I actually think I want to take one of these. Separate and Separate, selection. I'm going to take one of these and put it in the middle because I think that would look nice. Origin to geometry and set that to X right in the middle. And let's can do the same thing with these. Separate, selection. Get rid of the mirror. Move these out. Set origin to geometry. Whoa. I don't know how that happened. All right, we got those there, and then I want to do one more set down here. Cool. Got some little architectural embellishments there. Now, oh, and then one more thing I wanted to do. There's a little towery thing at the top. It should take just a second, but I think it's a worthwhile addition. Not sure exactly how this goes, but again, I hope nobody looks too closely at this. If they do, I apologize. Just trying to make a pointy thing. Not trying to get too wild with it. But from a distance, I think it'll look pretty nice. Okay, so now materials. Oh, we forgot the base with the stairs and everything. Do I want to do that? Let's see. Let's just select everything here and move it up. We can just do a simple kind of square thing just to let's set our 3D cursor to 0, 0, 0. Add a cube. I guess I could have just no, I couldn't. not worried about what's happening in the back, really. Oh, we can use our fence down here as well. Interesting. And then there's a set of steps. God, do I want to go into the steps? Oh man, that sounds like a lot of work. Well, at the very least, why is this all messed up? Or at least we can duplicate this fence. Really props to anyone who's still watching this at this point. I'm almost boring myself. Oh, cool. You can use Shift plus C to recenter the 3D cursor. That is cool. Could I just paint over this? Yes, I absolutely could. And that might even be a smart thing to do. I could make some easy selections based on just the shading and the silhouette. But I don't know. I like to mess around with the textures in Blender a little bit as well. I just think that's kind of fun. But anyway, let's create a little cube here. Set that to 0. I think we can knock out some stairs pretty quick here. So we have the outside, which is like these blocks over here, and then we have our interior. Let's just start with the stairs themselves, and I think I can already envision a sort of easy way to do this. Let's go to our side view, do Shift D, put this down like that. No, I can't do it that way. All right, let's try this again. Shift D, and let's just do a manual placement. I think that will work. Yeah. Look at that. That was very satisfying. Cool. We got stairs. Let's do a similar thing with... Well, let's just make a... It's just kind of fun, like, figuring out different ways to go about this, I feel. Like, there are 1,000 different ways to do anything in Blender. And I definitely consistently pick some of the worst ways to do them. But when you get it right, I don't know, it's pretty satisfying. So there's a little bit of a landing here, and what I should have done is just grouped these all into one object, which I'm going to do now, and just going to give a little space for that landing. So let's All right, let's do some loop cuts here. How does this work? I guess there's just goes down 2 times, so oh man, I gotta figure out better ways to do this. Okay, I'm gonna do it in reverse. So there we go. It's not totally square. Let's actually take this whole thing and move it down. So we're kind of lined up with there we go. Boom. I think that's pretty much it, right? Actually, just move this up. Maybe that isn't quite right. All right, let's try this one more time. I want to make sure I guess the angle of the stair is slightly different. You know what? Screw it. Doesn't have to be exactly the same. And this one can go up as well. Right on. All right, let's duplicate that. I'm not going to worry about all of those ornate embellishments there. You can, I mean, you can go as far as you want. I gotta eat some food at some point here, so I'm not going to go all out. Yeah, I think, you know, we can just give this some basic color here. I think that will be good enough for now. So let's just do kind of a quick quick adjustment here. That's not what I wanted to select. Base color. Something like that. And let's do the same here. Kind of a darker color over here. As with the trimming. Will the plane model be online in my store? Probably not. I don't think I don't think this is worth buying really if you are. I guess it's useful as if you're creating 2D concept art. I mean, and that's really what this workflow is for. Is this isn't for actually modeling for a game or anything. This is so you have something to look at for or import into your into Photoshop or something so that you can paint over it. But yeah, if you want to get the Blender file, I can definitely put that up somewhere, and you guys can use it. The cool thing is, once I set all these up with the different materials, I can make overall adjustments that will create different effects. I'm going to create a sort of window material as well. So let's give that sort of a bluish base color. Turn up the metallic, specular, turn down the roughness, so we're basically, and once we can actually, let's incorporate an HDR model, HDRI texture, so that we can actually see how this would look in context. So let's delete this and let's do environment texture and open up something with a sky to it. Yeah, that's kind of cool. We'll just pretend this is on the ground somewhere. All right, let's go back to object here. Should probably start. Let's call this one window. And now with these, what we can do is select this plane and separate it and give that the window material as well. We can do the same thing up here. And obviously, like you can see down here, I made some duplicate walls for some of these. I could probably, I can probably fix that by enlarging these a little bit. It's probably it's one of many solutions, but I'm not going to worry about it for now. I mean, we can see that may show up in our cycles render, which is really what we care about, but it may not. So let's take a look here. And this is a fun part of the process as well. So yeah, it doesn't really look like that's gonna show up too much. So we won't have to worry about that. Let's do another color for a roof as well. Let's go back to Let's go back to Eevee. And let's go here, select these planes. Oh, that mirror is still on there, so we don't have to worry about the other side. Let's do these ones as well. Actually, let's wait on that. So let's separate this. And then let's do another selection for this, because I want to make this brown as well. Separate selection. So let's set this to that, and this, let's make a new one. It's kind of this grayish, almost bluish color here. And we can actually, we don't have to just adjust the colors here. We can give it sort of a slate roof texture, which is really cool. Let's do the same thing here. Separate selection. And let's give it that. And the same for these. Cool. And then this as well. Let's grab these bits here. Separate selection. And whoops, did not mean to do that. The trimming of the roof, we can do that as well. Separate. This is kind of fun. I mean, this is when like all that tedious work is just starting to pay off. Oh, I forgot that little bit there. Let's go back in. We could just join these. I have to set the material first. Okay. Cool. Let's actually, we can darken this up a little bit. So now all of the changes we make will be applied uniformly, which is kind of nice. Let's change this to material 4. Whoops, before I do that. Let's switch that back and separate these out. This part's a little bit tedious, but good enough. So we could do this little, what color is that little top part? It doesn't matter. So we can see let's, I think this whole bottom section I want to have, I guess it doesn't matter. Let's try a couple things with the textures. Excuse me. Might have some kind of brick roofing tiles. Let's see. See how that looks. Interesting. So let's actually, what we have to do is go into our UV map and smart UV. We can probably apply that mirror modifier at this point, but I'm just gonna wait a minute in case there's something else we want to do with it. But we can see here, we can set up some tiles. Can go a little smaller than that even. And with this, with everything we apply that to, we just want to make sure it has a proper UV map. I use Smart UV Project for most things, and that seems to work out fine. Obviously here we're running into an issue with the mirror modifier, so I think I'm just gonna go ahead and apply that, and then redo our UV map. See how that looks. A little better. Can actually rotate it. I'm not going to worry about that. There we go. Let's do the same here. And for this one, nice. I guess those were different. I guess they're all the same. So we can actually adjust the color too to get closer to what we were after earlier. So let's do a Hue Saturation Adjustment. Can increase the value. See if all right. Because a lot of this stuff we won't see the final result until we go into cycles. So let me take a quick look there as well. Looks cool. Let's see if maybe I can get it to be a little bit lighter. Taking down the roughness. We don't need it to be super reflective or anything. Not totally sure why it's still so dark, but doesn't matter too much. All right, let's see if we can mess with this material a little bit. Introduce maybe a environment. Introduce some other. We'll just give it a little bit of texture to it. Let's actually go ahead and apply that mirror. And do a quick UV map here. Not sure why that's not showing up. Strange. Okay. Oh, right, because I haven't set up the mapping here. Make sure that's connected to UV. And then let's just reduce the scale here. That is pretty weird. Not sure why that's happening. There we go. Let's just get a little bit of texture to it, and we don't want it to have any sheen to it. So we're going to take down the roughness, specular, so on. And let's just do a quick Hue Saturation Adjustment so that can kind of closely approximate the color we're after. There's a little bit of grit to it. All right, well, I think we've pretty much done just about enough here. Let's just hide these. So we don't have any weird floating things around. And let's just take a look, see how this looks in our render here. Pretty cool. We should be able to see some reflections happening in the windows there, depending on our angle. But yeah, we created one one house out of the whole village. So you know, we've got our work cut out for us here. I could duplicate this a few times, create a little square, and see how that looked. But for now, I think I'm just going to leave it at this one. And let me just get a good angle here and let this render out for a second. So you can see our beautiful work. Should probably save it because I have not done that once. Victorian house. Definitely did not follow my own advice there. Beautiful. Well, maybe next week or during the next stream, I'll be able to take this and do some kind of painting with it. For now, I think I'm definitely going to take a break from Blender for a while, get some food, and regain my sanity here. But until next time, it's been a pleasure. Thanks to all of you who have stuck it out to the bitter end, and keep an eye out for more live stream events like this in the future. I'm hoping to start doing them on Sundays consistently once again. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss it when that happens. And yeah, hope you all have a great Sunday, and I will catch you next time.